A Gathering of Days by Joan W. Bloss, Chapter 2. Wednesday, November 10th, 1830. I saw my phantom again today. This time it stayed a longer while, peering and peering into the dusk, and in the same location over by Piper's Woods. I am resolved to examine the spot and prove myself to A and Cassie, both inclined to tease me still about my apparition. Now, Kath, they'll say, what headless being will you find today? Or, have you strayed hogs, Catherine Hall, to take you to the woods? Sophie told us today in school her father says when she turns 15, she's to be sent to Lowell, Massachusetts, there to work in the mills. The Perkinsons are badly off, and she's strong and could make good money, being also healthy and well used to hard work. But Sophie, to go to Lowell? I should be quite terrified to be thus torn from all I love, people, place, and ways. Sophie says the recruiter said the houses there have parlors for the girls and are very well kept. Some of them even have pianos. Sophie is musical, like all of the Perkinses, and oft will sing so prettily when her father fiddles. I dare say she will learn to play and soon delight them all. Friday, November 12th, 1830. Why are a scolding woman's hands like a fur and a fur cap alike? Both will warm your ears. Tuesday, November 16th, 1830. Joshua Nelson was thrashed in school. What he had done was not half so bad, or so Teacher Holt explained, as that he sought to put the blame on another scholar. After the thrashing he had to write, "To thine own self be true," on a foolscap 100 times. It is from a play by Mr. William Shakespeare, who, Teacher Holt explained, lived and wrote in England 1564 to 1616. To thine own self be true. Teacher Holt believes that very much, and so do I think. Saturday, November 20th, 1830. Mrs. Shipman's sister arrived last night, very late but in good spirits despite her lengthy journey. It was nearly midnight when the coach reached the bridge where her arrival being expected. Mr. Shipman met her and fetched her belongings home. She left Boston at 3 in the morning, having traveled there from Salem. How odd a sight in the Shipman's yard, so stylish a figure, from bonnet to boots, waving and chatting from the wagon seat, and all by flaring torches of pitch to ward off the midnight dark. She strongly resembles Mrs. Shipman, although much younger in years. I and Cassie were allowed to await her actual arrival. Thus I saw the large trunks she brought, each of them capacious. Also of hat boxes more than a few. I know as I carried them in. Today she showed us the gifts she brought, lengths of satinette and cashmere, and several of Godey's ladies' books that Cassie's mother may sew a best dress in the style of her choosing. Trims of lace and braid there were too, and a set of real jet buttons. Cassie and I simply fell on the books, and tucking under our schoolgirl collars, quickly pretended to cloaks and gowns in the latest fashion. Monday, November 22nd, 1830. The weather appearing very severe, we were early dismissed from school. Afterwards, Cassie called on me, bringing along the stockings she's knitting, and wrapped so well in her mother's shawl, I almost mistook her figure. We sat pleasantly side by side and scarcely noted the gathering dark, so busy were tongues and fingers. Cassie showed me, as she'd recently learned, to knit a long hair with a yarn when one turns the heel. This will give it added strength and so prolong the wear. Sophie has told me she admires A, but Cassie, when I told her of it, observed that Sophie need hardly confess what anyone could see. As for Asa, he cares for her not, and mocks her little simper, and knows that wrinkles ways. Cassie and I were quite agreed. We'll not reveal affection until certain it is of its return. Apples are excellent this year. We enjoyed several today. Tuesday, November 23rd, 1830. As the snow continued, we did not go to school. Later, when it had abated, I cleared the pathway to the barn as a help to Father. It is quite uncommon to have snow so deep so early. Thanksgiving Day, 1830. Such a feast as we had at the Shipmans, with food till we could eat no more, and divers pies aplenty. Also the pudding, and the Yankee cake, and the gingerbread. Uncle Jack set us all to laughing, pretending he simply could not decide which of these sweet cakes he liked the best, and tasting each repeatedly, to know where to place my approval. Still at the table, Willie fell asleep, then was carried off to bed with his stockings on. Aunt Lucy, we are to call her that, same as the Shipman children, Aunt Lucy wore her dark green silk, the one she wore the day she came, and laughed and chatted with everyone, of a merry crowd the gayest. Cassie's mother wore her old dress, but brightened it with a lace and the cuff from Aunt Lucy's supply. Also were the jet buttons used, which sparkled from Cassie's Sabbath day best and made it look quite new. My collar received good admiration, and Mattie would hike up her gown and skirts the better to show the boots. Father seemed not lost in thought, as is often his manner. He added many a witty remarks, and, with Mattie upon his lap as the evening drew to a close, oft held the party's eye. When it is wrong to wish we might, one day at our house and table, exchange the parts of hosts and guests, as we have so long played them.